The following is the Legacy Africa Founders Journal, originally written at 4:31 p.m. Friday, 20th of February 2026. This is being recorded on the 6th of August, 7:12 a.m. 2026. At the time, I didn't know how the story would end, and this is what I wrote. Molo Owam, Dim, the calm before the storm. Next week, we hear driving stool dude is going to pay up. Omid Name is talking equity, and he has lawyers drafting up agreements. Legacy needs to make serious moves. Internally, I'm feeling all right now. I don't know where these roads lead, but I know what to do next. Also, I gave up corn. For good. This week, we hopefully get more detail about what kind of numbers is talking about and what the terms of this phantom equity that matures into converted equity in 3 years. You should hear more today or this weekend. We're going on our first outing as a team next weekend to do work in the city. We'll hopefully grant access to their academy so we can rack up points before then. Looking forward to seeing under the hood and getting more insight on his intentions. But the formal nature of the approach is a positive sign. I'm graduating the HC from VC in March, by the way. Don't know what to expect, but look forward to it. Speaking of, and I want to approach directly, and the deal with might be the nudge that I need to be taken seriously and given a platform by many. Legacy can be special standing alone, but company can be what makes the heavy hitters lend me an ear. The money would fuel the license and the legacy tour because I also want to go door to door and speak to the decision makers in person. My company name is not the make or break, but I will use it as very least as a stepping stone, and it's definitely happening. Question that will be answered soon is to what extent. I feel good, capable. I'm getting closer to photographer, videographer. I'm acting. I'm doing gym, journaling, content, business. Everything is at very least in a spot where I can see a way forward. I feel calm, but understand that it's going to take all of me to make this happen. And that's why I'm cutting out all the nonsense. I'm making progress, internal and external. I'll see you/talk to you again next week. And that was the end of it. So I'm going to touch on a couple of key insights, a couple of key highlights for me. And without spoiling the rest of the journal entries, I'm going to give you a bit of insight in terms of what has shifted from my thinking then to the way I think now. And how did certain things actually pan out and play out. And so, first and foremost, it really was the calm before the storm. It really was a moment where I could feel that, okay, I'm not doing anything, there's nothing going on, but I could tell that the world is about to break open. You can just feel in the air that whatever is about to happen next will definitely change the trajectory of my life in one way or another, or so I thought. And so that was super interesting. Getting that money or being about to get that money was super interesting. Um, Learning about things like equity and how it's a super interesting thing because you realize that, oh wait, equity only gets paid out if the company ever gets sold. If the company never gets sold, then it is worth nothing that you have equity in the business. It's a promise of participation in future upside in the event of a cash out. and your equity can be diluted endlessly. Hence the Facebook story of the guy who got diluted out of Facebook, who's one of the initial investors. And so I say that to say, before that time, I knew so little that I thought equity was ownership, but it all depends very much on. I mean, it is, but it depends very much on the terms. Do the shares you have vote? Are they voting shares? Are they non-voting shares? Or it's very very specific, very minute detail. It's very very um, dependent and predicated upon how you can negotiate your own deal very specifically on what it actually means. And so it doesn't necessarily have to mean anything at all. Learned about phantom equity at the time, which is, listen, you don't have equity yet, but this is a intention, this is a statement of goodwill. This is me stating that if things go well, I will give you equity. It's a super super interesting game, and so you learn the minutia and the granular detail of contracts and how they're drafted. I think this was my first official contract. I mean, obviously, I'd been an athlete before. I'd worked before I'd worked before at a couple of companies, and so I'd seen and read through contracts before. But this was my first of this nature. I like since obviously getting into entrepreneurship at this level, and so it was very, very interesting, and I learned a lot from even just reading it and how protective of the founder it was without necessarily being insulting or damaging to me. And I learned a lot about how to draft contracts in that particular way. And I took that. So I'm very, very good at, and I encourage being very good at filtering out what are the things that we feel are important, what are the things that we feel are not very important. And so, as in, what do we feel we should carry into the next phases of our lives? What can we learn from this person that we're working with? And also, what can we learn not to do based off of the way that what they did made us feel? And so it was a very very important learning curve, this experience with this company, and kind of working with the guys and figuring things out. Um, Learned a lot about the phantom equity, and then lastly, this deal I thought would do a lot more for me than it actually ended up doing. So at the time, I believed, wow, if I close this, and, I still had that young founder fallacy. The young founder fallacy of, man, this next deal, no, this next person I talk to, this next hire, this next thing is going to be the thing that just changes everything. And you realize as you get more seasoned that it's not one silver bullet. There is no silver bullet. It's 1,000 golden BBs. And so, was this one of the BBs? I don't even know. I'll say this. I'm glad it happened because it gave me the confidence to walk into those rooms and to pitch and to, do all that stuff. Um I'm glad it happened for that reason. But what I realized is that by the time the Legacy Tour actually happened, I only had one line in there about the partnership. And so, and that line didn't even, for me, I was like, no, people, like, in order for people to think I'm legit, I need to be able to say something like this. Because it's like the mechanic who undervalues his own services is because, oh no, this is easy. You just like unplug this, rescrew this, you tighten that, and then the thing works fine. It's whatever. You don't even need to pay me that much. Versus, I don't have a car. Like, if you don't tighten this and unscrew that, I have no idea what you just did or how to do it. And for me, it's a massive problem. For you, it's an easy fix. And so you tend to undervalue based off of what it is to you instead of valuing it based on what it would mean to me to get my car back. Because I pay you a lot to get my car back. But if you tell me it's an easy fix and you undercharge based on your skill set, then that's just what your compensation is going to be. And so for me, business acumen came very easy. Understanding marketing, sales, positioning, like doing and leveraging the things that I've done and have leveraged has come very easy to me. And so I tend to undervalue the ability to do that. I tend to just move and operate as if, oh no, anyone could do this. You just need to do this, and this. That's it. That's because that's literally how I feel about it. I don't feel like I've made rockets on the way to Mars. I just feel like, okay, no, I just did a thing or two. Like built a little bit of a personal brand. That wasn't even that difficult. I just posted consistently for years, posted consistently for years and ate dirt, and then that developed my ability to speak, which developed my ability to write, and developed my ability to structure, and developed my ability like, and then downstream and so on and so forth. And so for me, it's those things are just, it's like in the gym. By the time you hit what would be a PR, like this week I squatted 160 kgs for 8. Next week I'll probably do 10. The week after that I'll probably do 12. The week after, because that's what my progression has just been week after week after week, through from squatting 140 all the way up to here, right? And so there may come a day, not too long from now, let's say this time next year, where I'm squatting 200 for 6 to 10, right? But by the time I'm squatting 200 for 6 to 10, I'm already seeing 250 on the horizon. Do you see what I'm trying to say? And so by the time you actually achieve these things, they don't seem that massive to you, or that magical, because you were there all throughout the process of developing the skills that you have. And so I say that to say, what I appreciate this deal for is that it gave me the confidence to put myself out there. What I realized when I was out there is the way that the marketplace reacted to me. I thought they would react like that to the deal I was able to secure using the skills, but they saw through that and saw the skills themselves, and they saw the man behind these things, both legacy and the soul partnership I had at that time. And more than they saw through to me, like going out there and actually marketing the idea, having conversations about the idea, seeing how it lit people up, how people began to imagine and impart their dreams and their visions and their ideas on top of my vision, my idea, and see where it goes, and imagine, oh, what if you did this? What if this happened? What if that happened? I'm like, no, I just want to locally do this. And then they're the one pitching like, oh, but it could be a national thing where it connects all of our different and this and that. And I'm like, wow, legacy, I dreamt you up, my baby, and I thought you had legs. I thought you could run. But when I brought you to the world, I found out that you had wings and you could fly. So, if not for this, I perhaps would have approached those situations with a different level of confidence. And I think I had the right amount of confidence because I was able to kind of get that behind me. So I'll always appreciate that part. And then in terms of the relationship forming, the doing it, and the giving up nonsense, there is no peace, they say, for a man who knows what he can become. They say there's no peace for a man who knows who he can become. And as such, I believe as soon as I saw what I was capable of, I haven't watched Corn since, when did I write this? February, like mid to late February, early February. Yeah, like late February. I wrote on the 20th of February. I probably gave it up like mid February. I haven't seen a single like pornographic image, anything since then. Haven't self whatevered. Haven't engaged. I hadn't engaged in intercourse since like the previous year, and so it's been probably more than a calendar year now that I've been apart from that BS. Haven't drank in a really long time. Like even a sip. So like being smashed and sloshed and whatever. It's been months and months and months, more than 6 months. Having a sip even, it's been multiple months. So I say that to say, um, this was a time where I was really feeling myself hitting that stride and deciding like, okay, no, I'm realizing now the opportunity cost. As in, when you realize how much you can do in short periods of time, all that begs the question to you is like, ooh, what could I do if I actually focused? Like, how much better could I be? How much more could I do? How much more do I have to give that I'm wasting on these trivial things? Am I wasting chasing pavements that I could be reinvesting into myself? How much money, time, energy am I spending on these women who don't even care about me? That I could reinvest into this dream and become the most incredible person I can for myself, for my family, for everyone I love, and for the person that is one day going to be my partner through this life thing. Like, how much more could I be if I didn't waste so much of myself on these trivial things? Is the question that the circumstances themselves and how hard I knew the journey that I was about to walk was going to be forced me to ask myself. And so around that time, I decided to say no, no parties, no alcohol, no women, like none of it. I just want to be all in on this thing and genuinely all in. And I felt that up until that point, I had been all in terms of I've always worked very, very hard on whatever it is, but I was constantly taking 5 steps forward, 2 steps back, five forward, two back, five forward, two back. You run that for 5 cycles, and all of a sudden you're 10 steps behind where you're supposed to be. And that's not, I felt within myself that I'm better than that. I'm better than that, and I have more control of myself than that. Again, incredible physique, did well academically, like everything was going all right. Was a leader among leaders, was very well known, great reputation, all that good stuff. And inside, I felt like not necessarily a facade or like a fake or like a whatever, but I understood within myself that what I was doing sometimes behind closed doors was not conducive to the growth that I was also working very hard for, and was not conducive to the growth that I was working very hard for. And so that was a very, very pivotal season for me. I'm making progress, internal and external. I'll see you. And what's it? Yeah, see you slash talk to you again next week. And that's what I have to say to you. See you slash talk to you again later next week. And ultimately, this feeling right here, so is being galvanized right now. Like 6th of August, maybe the 5th, the 4th, early August, I've had to break up with someone that I cared about very, very much. And the reason that I broke up with that person that I care about very, very much is literally the same reason that I broke up with that version of myself. Is because I saw that there was so much more in me and I couldn't bear to keep standing in my way. I had to get out of my own way. And so this was a situation where this is the person that I believe is going to be my life partner. This is the person that I'm trying to pour everything into, that's pouring everything into me, that's been with me as I've struggled. I'm not perfect. I've stumbled, on this journey that I'm walking now, of of genuinely being the viceless man. Like that's really the life that I've been living, and it's insane to me because there was a time I couldn't even imagine not going a week without seeing a girl, a month. Was mind-boggling, and it's been a full calendar year. So I've seen the incredible transformation that's unlocked in my life, and so of course, for the women I love, I want the same thing. I want her to experience that. I want that to be her reality. And that's what I encouraged and that's what I pushed for. And unfortunately, she was kind of getting out of a more peaceful season in her life. She felt like this was maybe her first and only opportunity in her life that she's going to get to, you know, have that fun, be outside, do those things, and have those activities. And it's not even a lack of trust that I thought, no, this person's gonna mess around on me and do this. No, she's she's great. She's fantastic. She on a balance of probabilities would not do that. That's not conducive to who she is. But with that being said, like if I love you and I actually love you, then and I hold the standard for myself, I will hold the same standard to you out of respect because I respect you in the same way that I respect myself. And this is the way that I show my respect for myself. And so this is the bar that I'm going to have for you. And so when that wasn't the case, I had to walk away because again, if you see what I went through and what the season was like for me and how it's changed my life to live like this, of course I want that for you. But I can't force that on you. And so the importance of that standard, the importance of that internal, external respect for self, respect for environment, and respect for the people around you. I'll tell you the fantastic thing about living like that is that it gives you these great seasons and you're able to achieve these great things in short periods of time. I'll tell you the terrible thing about that is as soon as you experience what life can be like for you want that for the people around you. So you hold that standard, and not a lot of people will live up to that standard. And so it becomes a very, very lonely lifestyle. And so maybe it was the calm before the storm. Maybe not in exactly the way that I figured. Because I figured that, oh, I'm about to secure this deal and then that's going to change my life. It didn't. But the calm that I'm experiencing in my life and the calm internal that I feel now and the purpose and how lit up I feel and wanting to spread that energy, very calm. And the storm ended up being the winds, the floods that God is sending through my life to cleanse and leave me with what I need, with who I need in this season of my life. Not to say that people who you don't roll with in certain seasons of your life are bad people. They just may not be the people that you need in that particular season. So, with that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching. If you made it until this far, I really, really appreciate you. If you did, in fact, enjoy, please subscribe. If you are a marketer in Port Elizabeth, there's a fantastic campaign rollout that's going to be coming out specifically for you. So we'll find you eventually. But if you found this before we found you, Legacy Africa link is in the description box down below. There's a bunch of free tools on the website. We'll keep them free forever or for as long as we feasibly can. And then obviously the cooler and cooler the stuff gets, then there will be payable stuff, but the basics are always going to be free. And the basics are better than other people's paid stuff. That's kind of the goal with what we're building there. Yeah. No. With that being said, let me clip this on. Thank you for watching. I've been Sage, standing on business. Signing out.